II and guided an Ottoman army into Hungary. But that Ottoman force was defeated, leaving the Hungarians furious with Vlad. See, the problem that would bedevil Vlad, and his son Dracula as well, was that Wallachia was a small country between big powers, and siding with one invited the other to either attack him militarily or to try to put another relative on the Wallachian throne. In 1442, Vlad took a meeting with John Hunyadi, a Hungarian vassal and Prince of Transylvania, remember him, he's important, who convinced Vlad to withdraw his support from a planned Ottoman invasion of Transylvania. Vlad, hoping to stay neutral, didn't join the invasion, but did let Murad's forces cross Wallachia to attack Hunyadi. Now, it was Murad II who was furious with Vlad, and when he called him in for an explanation, he jailed him along with his two youngest sons, only releasing him to reclaim his throne once he'd sworn not to act against Ottoman interests, and pledged to send 500 children a year to join the elite Ottoman Janissary Corps. But when he was released from Ottoman custody, he left a few things behind. Namely, his 11-year-old son Vlad III, known by his preferred honorific of Dracula or Son of the Dragon. Oh, that's right, just like Daddy Dragon got ditched as a hostage at Sigismund's court, this little dragon got left as a hostage with the Ottomans along with his brother Radu, who was around 7. And these two brothers couldn't have been more different. Radu got along just fine with the Ottoman court. He was charming, intelligent, and good-looking, eventually even earning the title Radu the Handsome. He befriended the Sultan's son Mehmed II, and his studies in Turkish, the Quran, logic, mathematics, and philosophy flourished. Vlad, on the other hand, didn't get on so well. Neither charming nor handsome, he got none of the fawning attention Radu received, and his defiant attitude meant he regularly felt the lash of a tutor's whip. Yet while they were generally well treated, they were also in danger. A fact brought home when the brothers saw two boys, fellow Eastern European hostages, blinded with red-hot irons as punishment for communicating with their father. As always, Vlad's bulging green eyes saw everything. He saw the Ottoman court, memorizing its functions and ways. He observed military drills close up, and was raised along with Mehmed, gaining first-hand knowledge of a future enemy. He observed the terror tactics the Ottoman states used to keep vassals and populations in line, and he learned another hard lesson, that politics wasn't personal. Betraying your family was okay, if it gave you more power. Then one day, a messenger arrived, saying that Vlad and Radu's privileges were being stripped. They would now live in harsher conditions, separated from the court. For it seems their father, the dragon, knowing it would mean the death of his sons, had joined John Hunyadi in a crusade to eject the Ottomans from Europe, which didn't go very well. The Crusaders marched to total defeat, and then in the fallout, Vlad Dracul gave confusing signals of which side he was actually on. But ultimately, he resubmitted himself as a vassal to Sultan Murad, allowing Vlad Dracula and Radu, who he was surprised to learn were still alive, to come home. Yet, as I'm sure you've gathered by now, in making this peace, Vlad Dracul had invited war. Because now John Hunyadi stormed into Wallachia, hoping to put a pretender named Vladislav on the Wallachian throne. Because this story really needed more guys named Vlad. Vlad Dracula and Radu the Handsome fled back to the Ottomans, while their eldest brother, who stayed to fight with their father, got caught by a group of rebel boyars, who blinded him with a red-hot poker and buried him alive. And days later, Hunyadi and his men ran down Vlad II in a marsh. The dragon was dead, his throne given to a pretender. Which meant that now, in 1448, it was finally time for young Vlad to enter Wallachia and reclaim what was his. So with military support from the Ottoman Sultan, the son of the dragon marched to his revenge, and Dracula was unleashed. Ottoman Empire, 1447. This is how Romanian folklore says it happened. When Vlad Dracul was being run down in a marsh, when he knew that he'd be caught and killed by the pretender Vladislav, he gave his sword and pendant to a loyal boyar. "Take them to my son." For 5 days, the boyar rode, evading enemies and crossing rivers, until he entered the Ottoman Empire and presented them to Vlad Dracula. And as the boyar recounted the deaths of his father and brother, Dracula stood staring at the sword and pendant, both given to his father by Sigismund, both marked with the iconography of the Order of the Dragon. And there, the 17-year-old Vlad Dracula swore that he would not rest until he had avenged his murdered kin, and that he would personally, with his own hand, slay the pretender Vladislav. While the story we started with may be folklore, it does capture a solid truth. When John Hunyadi's invasion killed Vlad's father and brother, it put the teenage hostage into play. Murad seems to have told Vlad of the death himself, and then followed it up by making him an officer in the Ottoman military. Because despite the greater popularity of his younger brother Radu, Vlad's seriousness and determination had convinced Sultan Murad that this was the prince they wanted ruling Wallachia as an ally. And considering how brutal Hunyadi and his allies had killed Vlad's family, Murad also assumed that any chance of the young prince defecting to the Hungarians was most likely buried alive with Vlad's older brother. Plus, it was the perfect time to reclaim Wallachia for the Draculian dynasty. For when John Hunyadi and Vladislav marched into Ottoman-held Serbia, Murad had dealt them a shattering defeat outside Kosovo. In fact, the rout was so chaotic that no one even knew if Hunyadi or Vladislav had survived. Seeing his chance, Vlad stormed into Wallachia with a Turkish cavalry force and seized the throne, a dramatic beginning to a powerful and bloody reign. Soon, Vlad would take revenge on the boyars who had betrayed his father and brother, and would carve a swath across all of the land of— victory! Sorry, funny story. Vladislav actually turned up, both very alive